Testing.
Adam, stop sniffling. It's blowing out the speaker. What episode are we on of our podcast? 5? Yeah, I think we're on 5.
I think we're on 5.
I think we're on 5. Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Talk Nerdy with me. I forgot how to do our intro. Okay.
We are on episode 5.
Okay, cool. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Talk Nerdy with me podcast. I'm your host, Brittany.
And I'm Adam.
And this is our 5th episode where we're going to be going over the finale of WandaVision, basically just going through what happened, our reactions to it. We even have some footage of when we watched it, but that'll probably go in... Yeah, That'll probably go in maybe at the end, or maybe right now. Who knows, in editing. Oh, look at her! She's so hot. I was right!
Alright, I got a lot of questions still.
What?
That's not good.
Yeah, mostly we're just gonna kind of talk about it, because I feel like there's so much to talk about.
I'm so sad it's over.
I know, it's kind of like bittersweet, because, I mean, in general, we loved it. And it's like the first ending to our first series of our podcast.
Yeah, it's so weird too. It feels like a lot different than one of the normal movies ending for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this like a few times. I feel like the reason behind this is just because, I mean, as Marvel fans, we've gotten so used to how Marvel movies are, but movie isn't TV shows. And I feel like, to me, there always had to be a reason why Marvel was making such major characters into a TV show. Yeah. Like, they had to be doing different sorts of storylines for it to not just be like, hey, we can just make this a movie. Like, and like you were saying, it's way more about Wanda's story and Wanda's, like, life than how a movie would be revolving around, like, a conflict.
I think that's the coolest part about this, is just, it felt so much deeper than the rest of them. Just, like,
definitely.
The character building of, like, obviously, Wanda, you know what I mean? But even, like, Vision to an extent. Throughout the whole series, you know what I mean? It's like you really felt their relationship, the real emotions, and it's like obviously we get some scenes of that throughout the rest of the MCU, but I don't think we've seen anything really close to this.
Not like as far as a relationship goes, definitely not. I think like the closest, and this isn't even like in the same league, but the closest you could get is probably with like Peggy in Captain America.
But even then,
because like his is like an idolization of her.
Like the one probably actual relationship in the series was Tony and Pepper,
and they weren't.
And
really
even
good.
then, like him sitting there being
a dick,
dead. Well, no, I'm saying like at the end of Endgame, him being there dying. You know, I mean, her going up to her was like, you're sad because Tony's dying, but like you don't feel the effect of their relationship.
Plus, like the thing about
affecting everything else.
The thing about that was also that like their relationship was always technically established. Like even though she was an assistant in the beginning, like there was so much history that we never got to see. Yeah. While like Wanda and Vision, we saw it grow like from the very, very start.
We did, but we didn't. Though.
No,
like,
but
we saw pieces of it. But this is really what connected all the dots.
This expanded on it. But what I'm trying to say is like they're the only relationship we've seen from phase 1.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like it's the only one that started and kind of came full circle. Plus, I think in general, I thought it was really cool that there was so much discussion around what made Vision, because I think there was so much confusion around it. Like even the way that I personally already saw him as like a human before this started, and you were still very much on the like fence, kind of like leaning towards AI, you know what I mean?
I mean, there's like, I feel like there's a divide. It's just like how he is and like how you view him as a bigger picture, a little bit different. Like he's obviously been a human for all the movies he's been in since Age of Ultron, but at the same time, when you call him a human, it's not going to be calling him the same kind of human as Tony or...
Yeah, but I think that like his emotional level was always something that like people questioned. And to be fair, like we didn't get enough of it. But, like, for me, I always just thought that he was, like, this kind of Vision. So it was kind of cool to see him, like, fully come into, like, human emotions, really. Because obviously he's not a human, but, like, he embodies humanity in a different way. Which is, like, a whole other discussion on, like, what makes a human, you know? Because, like, he has humanity and he is a good person, even if he's not a person.
Right. Yeah, I think especially about, like, towards the end of this, you really feel like him being... you know, artificial, a synthezoid or whatever, but having the emotions makes it even that much stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, because, like, he doesn't have to. He could have easily turned into an Ultron.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's always, like, the fine line that you play with, and I feel like they even played with that a lot with the whole white Vision trope here.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been so easy to turn him into like a mind, or not even mindless, but a soulless villain.
Yeah.
But like instead they unlocked like a whole other side of him that I didn't even expect, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think it was going to be that happy of an ending for him, if I'm going to be honest. Do you want to kind of start in somewhat chronological?
Yeah, I just actually want to talk about just like what we've been doing with the show and like theories and just that kind of realm of stuff. Like I wanted to start off by saying I absolutely love this show, like start to finish. I loved everything about it. I think it's so unique. And obviously we love talking like what we think's going to happen, connecting dots, pointing out like Easter eggs and stuff like that. But I don't want people to be like disappointed when, well, obviously if we say things that don't happen, but just like don't expect any of these things to happen. You know what I mean? Just because it's, with Marvel, you never know what you're going to get, and they have years and years of content to like decide what they want to do with something.
It's so cute to hear you say all this. When we first watched this, he was definitely disappointed in a few things. And I was the one sitting there like, babe, we shouldn't have expected anything.
Well, that's what I'm going to get into that. But I even, something smaller, we talked about the aerospace engineer and who that could be. Because obviously we would all love it to be Reed Richards, totally. Beast, anyone like that.
Of course.
Can I talk?
I'm sorry.
Obviously, we'd all love that Easter egg, and I think it would be cool. And to an extent, I think a lot of the actors kind of egged, the people on with these kinds of expectations. But after finishing it and after watching it a second time, and it's not like I was disappointed, but I was kind of expecting it. And then the second time around, after thinking about it a little bit, you have to remember this is Wanda and Vision's story. So, if we finish this and the last thing we see is like a Magneto or a Reed Richards, we're talking about them. We're not talking about Wanda. And I just feel like that's a big reason why, like, one, they might not have even thought about this when they were writing it up. You know what I mean? It's obviously with fans, we're always expecting more than we're given. After watching it a few times, it makes total sense that they would just leave it to be her story. So
I agree.
I don't know what you're looking at me like that for.
I just think it's funny. We talked about this already. Well, we talked. So actually, we
talked about. No,
I get it. It's just so, but that's why, like, I think it's just fun to hear you say it, because like he was a little bit disappointed the first time he watched it. I think I was trying to come from like the perspective of like I get this all the time in books. Like I'm as like a book reader, like I never get what I want. I theorize a ton, and I have to be extremely patient, and it normally ends up going in a completely different way than I ever thought. So, like, for me, this whole series, even though, like, I had some expectations, I don't put a lot on my expectations.
Oh, yeah, same.
Like, I really, really don't. So when he was initially, like, disappointed, he's like, we didn't get any of the spoilers or the Easter eggs that we were looking for. And I was like,
I didn't say it like that.
Okay, I'm exaggerating, obviously.
But I was really only hung up on...
Reed Richards.
No, not even him specifically, but the aerospace engineer. And only because I did a little bit of digging just to find exactly what quotes we were going off of that the actors did in these interviews to make us think these things. And Elizabeth Olsen a while back had an interview, and in this interview she was asked, is there going to be a cameo close to Luke Skywalker? She didn't say there will be a cameo close to Luke Skywalker, and when you're put in that spot, all she said was yes and kind of like a next question kind of thing. So we can assume, maybe that was Evan Peters as Pietro, but even then it's like you can't just say no when you're TV shows premiering. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want viewers to not watch.
Can I say what I told you when you were telling me that? Because when he was telling me that, I was like, okay, yes, but granted, actors are told like specifically to leave Easter eggs and lie about certain things just to start like excitement over TV shows. Like in Game of Thrones, there's been like that whole scene where like Arya, or the actress that plays Arya, is on for an interview, and she plays a whole thing about her thinking that she slipped up and how she's like about to cry, and she runs out. And it was all fake. It was all staged. Like everyone knew, everyone was in on it. And it was like just to bring up hype around Game of Thrones. So like it's not surprising. I just think that like we maybe expected more from Marvel, even though we definitely shouldn't have,
Not at all. But it's just funny because like that was the first thing. So we're all just like, Luke Skywalker. After that, you have the actress who plays Monica Rambeau on another interview. And they're like, what do you think about this aerospace engineer? And she said something along the lines of, I'm very excited for all of you guys to find out. And now looking at it, it's like she's trolling us. It's nobody. You
or
know
like
what
even
I mean?
Paul Bettany saying like, I'm so excited to work with this actor. I've never worked with them before.
Paul Bettany had a whole interview saying, like she said, I've always admired this guy's work. I've always wanted to work with him. And we were like, oh, maybe it's even just something as small as Doctor Strange. Like, that's a cameo. And
we were even thinking it was going to be Magneto.
I know, but it's funny because he's actually never been on screen the same time as Doctor Strange. Yeah, Vision and him haven't been in the same screen. So we were like, oh, that'd be kind of like, you know what I mean, telling the truth. They haven't worked together as in their characters. And so we're like, oh, that's an easy answer. And then he comes out, I think it was like Good Morning America or something like that a couple days ago. And he's like, they're going to be so mad at me when they find out. So I don't know. It's
because
all
we can
funny.
expect that potentially it was just him working with himself, which is just adorable.
No, he admitted to it. He's like, they're gonna be so mad when they find out I wanted to just work with me.
I love that for him. That is the kind of energy we need to take into 2021.
Right, but
be your own favorite actor.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of people are a little bit more salty this time around because maybe this is the first kind of show or movie they started making theories for, but I've been getting disappointed since the start.
I've been disappointed since day one.
It's just you're always going to expect more, and there's just so much they can always do. You know, and they're always dropping hints. There's always going to be a lead-in or a callback to another movie or a future movie. So
yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is. Sorry, I brought a snack. But sure. I think the biggest thing is that like this isn't supposed to be an end, like at all. Yeah. And I think more people expect closure from a TV show. And this one left us with more questions than answers. Yeah. And that was probably really shocking. I think you're right. This is definitely a show that people finally started theorizing and getting into, like the fandom and getting into the comics and getting into the theories and Easter eggs. Yeah. Like this is one of the first for a lot of people, which is interesting to think about. You know, like I wonder why exactly. Yeah. So because of that, though, they're not maybe used to the disappointment and they're not used to being wrong and they're like finally feeling smited. Is that the right way to say smite in past tense? Is it smoot? Smite?
I don't think it really applies either way, but I mean, it sounds right.
Spite? I don't know, spiteful. But so
say salty.
Salty. But like again, like theories are fun, but you're gonna get one in like 30 right. Yeah. If you're lucky. If you do a lot of research, you're gonna get like one out of every like 30 right.
Yeah, and I think the unique thing about this show is like especially during the sitcoms, there were so many little Easter eggs. Oh, like there are always a couple in a lot of the movies, but like I feel like this more than the rest of
I do finally want to talk about the fact that I was actually initially right about my interpretation of Yo Magic because I was I had mentioned that I thought that like the whole thing, like eating Yo Magic and the one person that was like starting to die and withering. And I was like, I feel like it has something to do with like Wanda's powers getting siphoned from her and she's being like left as a husk. Yeah. And this one really, I feel like embodied that. Yeah. Can we talk about the actual episode now?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Just go right into it.
I didn't write any notes this time.
Oh, okay. I wrote a couple, so we'll just have a little bit of a direction. But it's just cool because right off the bat, doesn't it just, like this episode specifically, as soon as you see Wanda in the opening scene, it feels like the Marvel movies. You know what I mean? Just the vibe, the like the background music and everything. You're like, it's going down right now.
It's cool too because like it finally,
like 1 second in.
It finally was an episode where the ending of the last one is going into the beginning of another one. Like this is how we're used to episodes.
It's
you know
what
I mean? Yeah,
show,
it's not a sitcom. It's like an action show, and it was so fun to be able to like merge seamlessly into it and have her be like confronting Agatha as Agatha's like leashing her children. Yeah.
And it was just cool because this was just all action, like start to finish. This episode specifically was just all pretty much a fight scene.
Yeah, very Marvel. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. It was epic, honestly. Yeah. Like I liked it. I liked almost like the excessive CGI. Like it was a little.
Well, it's
excessive.
magic. It has to be.
Yeah. I think maybe like some of the Vision parts were like maybe a little bit CGI-y for me.
Well, but that goes to the fact it's a TV show. Like obviously they do have the Marvel budget, but you are going to use a little bit less when creating the TV show.
Yeah, because there's so many more episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but just a couple like Easter egg references right off the bat. I thought throwing in the car was hilarious because that's exactly what she did to Tony in Civil War when she basically pulled down the whole the 2-story garage. She just dropped all the cars on him. Yeah. And then right after that, after she uses the car to hit Agnes straight at the house, you get a Wizard of Oz reference when the boots are laying on the ground.
Yeah, you mentioned that one right off the bat.
Yeah, I feel like that's when you just can't miss. You know,
it was so. I mean, the entire thing I mentioned to you. Like at the end, it was very much like Wicked Witch versus Glinda the Good Witch. Like, even the way that, like, some of, like, the mannerisms that Wanda uses, very, like, floaty and, like, landing, like,
the way
a dainty...
she does her hands,
well,
too. You know
yeah,
what
the
I mean?
dainty lady things. Like, that's exactly how Glinda, like, lands in Wizard of Oz. You know, she's like, are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Yeah.
And Agatha's, like, the epitome of, like, a wicked witch. You know, I loved it. Her cackle, her look, her vibe, it was just great.
Yeah. I honestly, I loved Agatha. I loved her character all the way through.
I'm glad that she ended up being the villain of the show.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted that to be it all along, but I was, you know, starting to lose hope because I feel like Mephisto was definitely just, like, thrown in our faces and all these theories. And I was like, okay, yeah, she probably isn't going to be the ultimate, but she was the ultimate villain, and I liked that. I did like, though, that when the vision she made came, when everything starts to go down, and she's like, I should have told you the moment I figured it out, and he was, like, extremely understanding. Like, I liked that he was like, no, I get it. I understand why you did this. Like, I completely am on your page, like, for this, because I was kind of worried that might be, like, an issue. Just, like, it would be hard to know that you're not the real one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter how good of a synthezoid you are. Like, it would be hard to just, like, see someone else.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy, though? Like, obviously she created him, which is a big enough deal, but she created that extra consciousness, which is still kind of wild to me.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I just think, like, that's... The way that he was even talking in the very end, where he was like, I have been a voice with no body, a body with no voice or no soul or something along those lines, and now in memory. And I think that it was more like an actual part of Vision. I don't think she made the consciousness, like, not really. Like, even the way that she described, like, you are the piece of the Mind Stone that always lived within me, which is what I told you. Like, I thought that maybe that was how she had created him and created that version of the Mind Stone. And if anything, if there's a version of the Mind Stone that always lived inside of Wanda, it stands to reason that it was always kind of, like, connected to Vision, and that it would always have Vision, like, what made Vision inside of it, if that makes sense. So if she made it from that piece of the Mind Stone, it would almost, like, just transfer over.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about Pietro, because I like my theories on that.
Yeah, well, that's the next scene. I think this is one of the things where we didn't need this to directly lead into X-Men in any way, but it is, now that it's over, I think this is one thing that we would have preferred a little bit more closure with.
Oh, no, I'm good.
You're good?
I told you, I have, like, my whole theory on it, like, and I'm pretty happy with my theory. Okay, so my whole theory is that we get that whole scene where it's like, your name's Ralph Boner, and he goes, heh, Boner. And everyone's like, oh, I can't believe that they did this whole Ralph thing just to make a boner joke in the end. It's not even X-Men. But I feel like it's actually that he's one of the people that was in the witness protection program in the beginning that's being hidden away. I think that he might actually be the real Quicksilver from the storylines that we always know the actor from being in, and that he's actually being, like, protected by SWORD or the FBI or whatever it is to protect his identity. I think he picked out the name Ralph Boner because doesn't that sound like something that he would do? Because he loves the name. Like, he would totally be like, Boner. And I think that he still just is, like, living in, like, someone's attic. Even though he looks young, I think that he might actually be old, because he tells Monica, he's like, yes, the wife doing all her things, and Agatha's not supposed to be young, like, she's not supposed to be, so I think that he's supposed to at least be in that kind of, like, age range, which would actually lead perfectly well into X-Men, and would actually tie everything together and just say, hey, this has been in the same world all along. Yeah. You know?
So my thing on that, and it is funny because this is the Ralph reveal out of everything, so Agnes's husband Ralph that she mentioned a couple times in the earlier episode, this is apparently him. Everything you said does make sense. I think that might just be it. Like, I can see him being the witness, and the witness thing, that was kind of what started Jimmy Woo even being there in the first place. So that's still something we didn't really get an answer on, even though that does seem like what it is.
I mean, there's supposed to be two witnesses anyways, so, like...
Right, but that's a question for WandaVision that didn't really get answered, and that I feel like kind of deserved an answer. Because otherwise, Jimmy Woo would have had no reason to be there. You know what I mean? So, even though the Hex was created, and that's where the problem started, we don't really know what got him there in the first place.
I just think that, like, the reason that I'm okay with having so few answers in that regard is because Marvel always leaves you hanging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, every single movie, you get 2 cliffhangers at the end to just be like, I don't know, figure out how this is going to tie in with everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like this one, it took it to another level, I guess. But like, to be fair, it was supposed to be about Wanda.
Right.
And they're easily going to be able to make a whole series or include all of these characters later on and give us answers. This isn't the end.
But you got to think, the basis of Jimmy Woo going to Westview was to find a person in the Witness Protection Program. We don't know who he is. We don't know anybody or his relatives, and everybody who's close to him has forgotten about him.
It was supposed to be 2 people.
2 people.
Right.
But that is just the most vague way for something to start. You know what I mean? So just...
I mean, it leaves a lot of possibilities, I think, for like Disney to like mess with.
I just think that's it, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. That's the thing. Like, I think that's where, like, initially, like, a lot of people's disappointment is coming from. Just, like, the idea that, like, these Easter eggs might just have been just that. Like, they might have just been there in general, just to, like, be in the story. And they could be. Yeah. But, like, Marvel isn't 100% known for just adding things just to never bring back to it.
They're very, like, precise. With what they do when
they add things in there for a reason. I mean, to be fair, I guess I'd have to rewatch everything very, very strategically. Yeah. But almost every single name drop they've ever done has eventually shown back up. Yeah. Whether it was in the next movie or literally 10 years later. Like if you compare Iron Man to Endgame.
Yeah. One last thing on Pietro too. Yeah. It's kind of weird for the necklace that was controlling him to be what gave this person super speed. You know what I mean? That's what's fishy about it.
That's what I told you. That's why I think it's actually Quicksilver. Yeah. Like, I don't think...
Well, Peter Maximoff, the one from X-Men.
No, I think it's Quicksilver from X-Men.
Peter, yeah. Oh. His name's Peter.
Oh, his name's actually Peter in the...
Peter in the X-Men one.
In the movies. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, no, then it could be. But, no, I think that it actually is Quicksilver. Like, it is an actual mutant with the... speed abilities. They never called Pietro Quicksilver, like they haven't done it at all. So it's very easy to just think that they're going to make Pietro just a regular old speedster and they're actually going to still have a Quicksilver, even if it's maybe not her brother Quicksilver. You know what I mean? Or maybe it is. Maybe it's like long lost relatives. I don't know. I don't think that the necklace was giving him power at all. I think it was one of those situations where Agatha walked in on another thing where she's like, I can take advantage of this. And she said simply that like the spell that she was using on him was possession spell. So where she could see through his eyes and hear through his ears, but she wasn't doing anything else. Yeah. I am a little sad that Monica didn't have a bigger role to play. But I also think that's okay because I feel like she's going to have such a huge role later on.
That's how I feel. I loved her character. I loved the way they set her up. I loved how pure she is. Like, when someone gets their powers, they don't automatically know what to do. So her just kind of figuring it out, you know what I mean, in a couple ways is super cool. But I also feel like it was the perfect setup because she's going to be pretty much the main character next to Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel 2. You know what I mean?
It's nice to see her, like, be a good person.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, the whole scene where Agatha is bringing, like, the citizens back, like, into their minds, and they're all just so mad at Wanda, like, angry, like, they want to kill her, you know, like, they want to die. And they're like, you're not letting us sleep because we're seeing your nightmares, like, we're feeling your pain, how could you? And it's like, okay, you're literally seeing her nightmares, and you are like, wow, that's a lot of trauma, and I don't want it, and so I hate you. And then you're being really mean to the person. I know it's like it's a different situation because obviously she's possessing them. Yeah. But it's 1 week.
That's still pretty. I'm gonna get to that later.
I just don't think. I think that they were a little overreactive.
No, they were not in the slightest bit, and that's what kind of makes this even more interesting because.
But I like that Monica understood because like that's the thing. Like
that's the thing. You can understand and empathize. It doesn't make it okay.
Well, no, it doesn't. And she never said it was okay. But she wasn't like she didn't hate Wanda. Yeah. Like she wanted to help her, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I just feel like I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way when they were all just like yelling at her about it.
Really?
Yeah. Like, because I get, funny. No, possession, bad. We all understand that. But she's clearly sitting there being like, I didn't kind of realize I was doing that. I'm going to fix this. And they're like, we hate you.
The whole part where Agnes drops the possession and they go up to confront her, that was creepy. That was like weird. Out of like a zombie movie or, you know what I mean? Just
you know what I realized it reminded me of? Because it was like tickling my brain. That like that whole scene where she like is getting crowded and then like it circles around her and she like releases her power. It was exactly like Elsa with Anna. Oh. Like, you know, like in Frozen where she's like Anna's like, you can fix this. And she's like, you need to leave me alone. And she's like, please go away. And then she like releases her power and accidentally, strikes Anna in the heart.
Yeah.
That's a Frozen spoiler, just in case you haven't seen it.
It was creepy. It seriously felt like, the elements of it were taken out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
This is why this whole show is so unique, because even though Agnes is the villain, Wanda's not a villain in this.
She's an anti-hero.
She's exactly.
Which, like, to be fair, that's my favorite kind of character.
Yeah, and it's always going to be probably the most entertaining because you're on both sides. She wants to do good, and this side, this time, she didn't really do too good.
I don't know.
Because here's the thing, you empathize with her. Just like Monica said, like, if anybody else had your power, they would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, well, she said if I had your power. She wasn't, like, generalizing, but obviously anyone would do that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, like, I think the bigger idea, because I was trying to think, like, why would these people be so mad? So mad.
It was a week.
It's a week.
Of being possessed.
It's a week.
Of being possessed and not being able to talk to your family.
Oh, it doesn't sound that
and
bad.
your loved ones. And being, like, conscious but, like, not in control.
I mean, it's creepy only because you don't know if it's going to end. That's definitely fair. But, like,
they didn't think it was going to end.
No, I know. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I'd be more scared than trying to, like, kill someone.
Well,
anyways, but besides the point, that's, like, if you don't even know the person that's doing it to you. Yeah. They've known her as a hero. They've known her as the person that saved the entire world. Like, they're sitting there being like, how could you bring your trauma when we've already had trauma? And it's like, I don't know. It brings up a whole other, like, discussion. I just think that they were mean. Like, that's really it. I don't know. They were mean.
I can't side with you on this. I would have been right in there. She was the pitchfork at the same.
Really? I don't think 100%. I would. I don't think I would.
Possessed for an entire week.
Yeah, it's
You have to do whatever she says. When you get to sleep and you're supposed to be relaxing, you're seeing her nightmares.
And that wouldn't make you feel empathy? I would feel so much empathy.
No, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is okay. You're going through it way worse than me. Don't drag me into this. I have nothing to do with it.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I have, like, Stockholm Syndrome or something. Because I would instantly just be like, fuck, I feel you. Like, do you need a friend? Like, I'll just, like, live with you. It'll be fine. Like,
that's funny. Because that's, honestly, going through this, that's all I could think about is because through the whole thing, we were like, somebody else is controlling the people and making it look like Wanda. I really held that to heart this entire time.
Yeah, I thought it was
And once we found out it was actually Wanda, I'm like, that's not okay.
But
like,
she didn't realize. I mean, to be fair, like, once she realized, if she had just kept doing it, that would have been messed up. Yeah. But she was, like, actively trying to stop it. Like, the moment that she realized what was going on.
After episode 5, so 5 whole episodes.
Well, no, she didn't realize that, like, that soon. That, like, she was controlling all the people. She thought...
She did.
No. She knew that she'd created the world, but she didn't realize that she was actually... She thought that she was helping them. Like, she even, like, explains it in this episode. She's like, I kept you guys safe. Yeah. I was keeping you, like, happy. Like, everyone was happy and safe. Because that's what she wanted. She wanted someone to take care of her and, like, keep her safe in a home... in a nice little sitcom where everything's happy. And she thought that she was doing that for them. Obviously, she went about it in the wrong way, I guess. But, like, once she realized that, she was like, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix this. And then they're, like, converging on her, being mean still. I don't know. I wouldn't be mean to someone with that much power.
That's what I thought was funny. So on the funny side of things, if someone's that powerful and able to control you, make you do whatever you want, to go at them in an angry way at all is pretty funny.
I would definitely go, like, the friend route. Like, I would not try to antagonize
And that's what
someone.
Dottie's character tried doing. She's like, please, like, we can be friends.
I think that's why
I
like Dottie. I told you I liked her approach.
She didn't do anything enough for me to say
I told you I liked her approach, like the way that she got uncontrolled.
Oh.
Where she's like, I just want to see my daughter again. Like, what are you doing with her in that room? Like, I liked that. That was fine. She's like, she could be the bully. That was hilarious. But everyone else, I was like, take a chill pill, Norm.
You're funny.
He sucked. I don't know.
Totally possessed the whole town. I'm a little worried now.
On accident? Maybe?
The book was the Darkhold.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not really, like, surprised.
Sorry, I don't have much to say about it because I have a whole theory about it at the end. So, like, for, like, the end credit scenes. But
okay, we'll go back to it later then.
Yeah, but, like, I agree, like, cool, Darkhold. Was that the book that was actually in Doctor Strange? Do we ever know, like, if that was the missing book, you know?
We're probably going to assume that.
Because it looks so similar. Mm-hmm.
So in Doctor Strange, he goes into the, magic library or whatever, and there's the forbidden section, and there is a missing book. So a lot of people have been theorizing that it is this book, whatever it may be.
Well, because it's even called, it's called, like, the Book of, like, the Cursed Ones.
Book of the Damned.
Book of the Damned, yeah. Things like that. So, I mean, I'd assume, just because it looks so similar to, like, the kinds of things that were there.
Yeah, we'll get more into that later.
Yeah. I mean, we're not even sure. We haven't finished S.H.I.E.L.D. yet, guys, so don't spoil us if you have. Apparently, Darkhold has a big role in S.H.I.E.L.D., and there's a whole discussion now on whether, like, it really has been retconned, or if it's, like, gonna somehow not be retconned. We really don't know. We have almost no information on that. I'm hoping that it won't be, because we like S.H.I.E.L.D., but...
I just want Quake.
I thought you said Quick. I was
Quake.
like...
I just want Daisy in the MCU.
She's great. I'm kind of obsessed with her. All the ladies of the Marvel Universe, I'm like, yeah, Marvel, you did that right.
Yeah.
You know what I want to talk about?
What?
I loved... Actually, okay, so a little bit before that, because first we need to talk about the fact that when she tries to take down the S.H.I.E.L.D. to try and, like, help everyone, her kids and Vision start disappearing, I really didn't think that was going to happen. Like, I really didn't. Like, I was holding out hope, I know.
And it's super cool because in that scene, you start seeing them kind of pixely glitch and fade away. That's actually an ode to one of the comic book covers for House of M.
Well, you know what it was reminding me of?
The
Tron.
Dusting. Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, no, it was giving me Tron vibes.
Yeah.
There was, like, something else, too, that was, like, had a similar, like...
Probably just the dusting when the snap happened.
No, there was, like, an actual, like... I don't remember what it is, but it's, like... Oh! I just realized what it is. Wreck-It Ralph. When Vanellope Von whatever,
yeah, that's it.
When she's like glitching out and she's like calling out to Ralph, it was just like that. Anyways, but that was like traumatizing, and that was like a hard decision for Wanda. But I was like, don't do it yet. Like, White Vision is still trying to kill ya. He's literally said like Wanda Maximoff's gotta go.
Yeah.
The whole scene where he literally walks up to her and she's like, "Is it really you, my love?" And he just starts like crushing her head. I'm like, yikes. Anyways, I also called that it was going to be Vision against Vision, so that was satisfying. That was very sad. No. I just mean like, no, just watching them like fight.
The fight itself.
Yeah. Watching them fight.
It was honestly too. That was cool because like it gave you enough of the, you know, the punching lasers and all that stuff kind of fighting, but the way it ended was just the most perfect Vision thing I could have possibly seen.
Oh, I loved it. The only thing I'm going to be mad about is I don't understand how White Vision is supposed to have phasing powers, laser beam powers, and flight powers when he's literally supposed to be a synthezoid that was just reawakened by Wanda's powers. Like, what is that blue stone in his head? What is the electricity?
Blue stone's nothing.
Okay, well then how does he phase?
Yeah, the phasing, you can tell me everything except the phasing. The phasing really doesn't make sense.
I don't care. I mean, the beam I will be okay with, but the flying makes literally no sense to me. Because like you could have given me an Iron Man kind of flying. You could have given me like jets, because he's just a robot, like a really high tech robot. But like the floating was all the Mind Stone. The beam was the Mind Stone. The phasing was the Mind Stone. Yeah. I'm gonna be mad about that until I know exactly why he's able to have all of the Vision's powers. Also, the super strength, Mind Stone. Like, he had, obviously, more strength than the average bear, but, like...
I mean, he is made of vibranium.
No, obviously, but I mean, like...
So, like, robotics under vibranium alone should be strong enough to
Wolverine.
Be adamantium, but, yeah, same thing.
Yeah, but similar, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is the Mind Stone was giving another whole layer of strength. Yeah. So, to say that him and the Vision that actually has the Mind Stone in this reality are fighting and they're equal strength doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know, it doesn't make sense. I need an explanation.
I mean, with that, I just feel like there's not enough information on either of them.
That's
which, again,
fair.
Just goes into their actual argument, which is hilarious, but, like...
Oh, yeah. That was satisfying.
Yeah.
That was satisfying.
I loved it so much. And honestly, the part... so, they have a little interaction where they question just their existence and if either one of them...
Comparing it to that ship, like, the famous, like, ship.
Ship of Theseus.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, Hexavision convinces White Vision, he's like... You know, we're both real, but we're both not. So technically, you don't need to, you know, fill your order, whatever it's called.
Yeah, he was like, you can't fulfill your order until you know which one is real, because he was put out to kill the real Vision. Like, that was like what, and he was like, well, you have the Mind Stone. He goes, well, you were the original body. I don't have an ounce of the original body.
I'm not even real.
Yeah, so they have to have a discussion, because obviously now that he's been sent out on a mission with very specific orders, if he does the wrong thing, then he didn't fulfill his orders. And after that talk about being like, well, neither is the ship, both are the ship, but is the ship really just the mold or whatever it was? And he says, I can unlock your memories because you're carbon. You're a nice piece of machinery. You still got all your memories.
Well, he said the data is still accessible.
Yeah. Well, he said it's still in there, and he goes, they wouldn't want you to access it. He goes, so that I would be a more pliable soldier.
Machine.
Yeah. And he actually lets him change his memories, which I didn't think he was going to do. And I really appreciated that scene.
I really appreciated the actual scene. I thought was awesome. That was probably one of my top 3 favorite parts of the episode, was just seeing him, tap where the Mind Stone should be and give him back all the memories, including the parts where Vision technically doesn't even have memory of. You know what I mean?
He gave him ones from WandaVision?
No, well, I don't know about that, but I was just talking about like the scenes where he was actually like getting killed by Thanos to understand Wanda's emotion going through there.
Oh yeah, because technically like he's giving Wanda's.
Exactly. So he was giving like that third party
perspective.
The aerial view almost of like all these situations. Yeah. So then you can see, because this Vision didn't understand Wanda's trauma. And now he could probably see that side of it.
Well, he also didn't understand in general like why he loved Wanda.
Right.
Like he had none of that.
Yeah.
He just didn't care about it. He was just a machine. Yeah. And like seeing his eyes actually humanize was so satisfying.
It was. I have mixed feelings about this though, just because with this ending, this was the most perfect send off for Vision. You know what I mean? And I love Paul Bettany and I loved his character. I thought he was fantastic.
I told you from the start, I don't want Vision to be done yet.
I don't want him to be done, but characters do have to be done at some point, and for this to end as dramatic and emotional as WandaVision did, and for him to just show up again at some point, it's just not gonna, if he were to show up again, you'd have that slight bit of he's back, and then you're just like, so we cried and we were all sad for nothing. You know what I mean? It's just kind of an anticlimactic feeling.
But to answer that, I honestly don't agree. I don't know. I just feel like Wanda deserves love and happiness. So that's definitely being like me 1000% biased. And we're getting that option because he says, I am Vision. And then he just jets off. I don't know. He has to deal with some kind of trauma. But
figure life out.
Maybe he has to like make his own reality where he has a sitcom with Wanda and he just like deals with his trauma. I don't know. Just putting that out there. It could be called Vision Wanda. So I liked that, though, because I kind of want him to return. I want him to have that moment. I want him almost to fuse, though, with, like, the Wanda of this memory. I don't know how, but I want that fusion to happen.
Wanda or the Vision?
No, the Vision.
Oh, okay.
Because he is a different Vision. He's the Vision of, he's a father. He's like parent to the twins. He's the one that like loved Wanda through this whole ordeal. Like he's a part of Vision that I think that Vision really would have needed. Like it's the sympathy, it's the empathy. And that was like one of the harder things I think for this newer Vision to grasp.
Yeah, I definitely thought they were going to fuse, honestly. Going through it, I really assumed that's how it was going to end. I was like, oh, I'll be okay with that because, we figured it out. You know what I mean? It works this time around.
Maybe somehow the Mind Stone will get involved again, and I think that would be like the true. But I brought this whole point up because I wanted to mention how after she brings down the Hex and realizes she can't bring down the Hex because she tied her whole family to it, which that's a whole other discussion. When she goes full Scarlet Witch, where she, like the Cheshire Cat moment where she disappears, loved it. And then when she literally just went back to Age of Ultron and like did the creepy like hand thing and got Agatha in one of those dreams, it felt so satisfying. Yeah. That was one of my top 3 moments too.
Yeah, definitely.
I might have a top 5, not a top 3. But that scene was sick. Seeing Agatha terrified was sick, and then it wasn't because she took control, and the Coven, the zombie Coven ladies, creepy.
We're going to get Marvel Zombies eventually.
No, we're not.
So it's going to be in the What If series, which is going to be animated, but eventually they will do a Marvel Zombies, because that storyline is crazy.
That was interesting, because at first I thought it was Agatha tricking Wanda, like taking control, like almost pulling some of the power again. But it really seems like the witches in the memory were coming to life. Like they were taking their own consciousness. And like because they were in front of the Scarlet Witch, something that they as a coven had believed was going to be a destructor. Like the end of the world. Like that's how they literally said, you're supposed to bring the end of the world. Like they start to like converge on Wanda. And what I realized, because it was right when Agatha's like, you have all this power but no knowledge. And right when the witches touched Wanda was the moment that her Scarlet Witch helmet appears. In my opinion, I think that like shape has to do with like the matron of like a witch's clan, which is supposed to, be like the one with all the knowledge, all the wisdom, supposed to be departing it on others. But I think that potentially just having that gives you knowledge. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was just a very weird coincidence.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, and we mentioned this in the last one, I think, was that, like, obviously Wanda has the little red, crown-looking thing, but Agatha's mom had a blue one.
Right.
So then it kind of makes you wonder, like, are these different, is a Scarlet Witch, like, an embodiment, you know what I mean, or kind of like a spiritual thing that takes a person over?
Well, no. Like I told you, I think, like, the way that I'm seeing it is definitely more of, like, the head witch has that kind of crown on her, like, head, and she holds her coven's knowledge.
Right.
Like, maybe she has all of her coven's knowledge. Maybe, like, knowledge from every single leader that has ever existed for their coven. She has all that knowledge, and that maybe, like, in a way, the Scarlet Witch has her own version of that. It's hard to really know, and actually that kind of brings to question why Agatha never gained one. Like, if she killed the head of hers, why didn't she get a purple one? You know what I mean? Like, is it because of the way that she stole the power? Like, what does that mean? Did maybe Agatha's mom actually give it willingly to Wanda, knowing that she's the only thing that's going to be able to trap Agatha? Because Agatha, with that amount of unlimited power, she would bring the end of the world. I guess she could have been looking like, what's the worst thing? She's like, what's the lesser of two evils?
True.
So, I don't know. Because until then, she doesn't get it. She doesn't have the crown.
Yeah, exactly.
And after that, she has suddenly some knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, where you think that Agatha's taking control. Wanda's like, you can have all my power. Their epic fight scene begins, and, like, it's draining Wanda. And she's just, like, throwing things at the shield. And I'm like, there's no way she's just doing that randomly.
Yeah, just completely missing.
And when, like, the last bits of her power were gone and she was, like, a skeletal figure, it was really scary. And you just see the runes pop up. I was screaming. Like, I was so excited.
She did scream.
I was so excited. I just, like, immediately was like, oh my god, the witch who casts the runes is the only one who can do magic, and Agatha's screwed. And it was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah, I love that whole scene. And right after that, she transforms, gets the costume for the Scarlet Witch, and it was probably one of the best things for the entire series, honestly. Probably one of the best scenes.
I'm so deeply in love with her in that outfit. Like, I don't know, babe. Like, I think that's just, like, my entire
aesthetic.
I don't know if it's aesthetic. I think that's just, like, what I want to be when I grow up. Like, I can't tell. Like, she was just so perfect.
Yeah, I mentioned this in the last video, but I think we might have cut it out because we took too long. But it's really cool because if you look at the actual teaser pictures for WandaVision, and it's the one with Wanda standing next to Vision and the TVs, there's pieces of her costume in the TVs.
Yeah.
So it was one thing I guess no one really, caught weeks ago or when they first dropped it, but it was the actual costume she ends up wearing in this episode, which is super cool.
Oh, and I loved the costume because we thought that it was going to end up leaning still more towards, like, the comic book / also, like, what she's already kind of worn, but then you see it and it just gave me, like, all of the, like, Viking war goddess, like, vibes. Just, like, I don't know why, because, like, maybe it was the hair. It was just, like, a really sick outfit. And then there was, like, that tweet that I sent you where comparing it to Magneto's outfit, like, young Magneto, identical. Like, it's really just, like, a his and hers outfits.
Yeah,
I loved them. Like, they were so similar. And when you first see, like, her crown appear, like, the M in it is just so similar to Magneto's helmet.
Yeah, I could see that.
Which, I mean, who knows why? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there could be literally no connection between them. It's just
definitely
cute.
something you notice, though.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
Interesting that they would still relate their costumes at all.
Yeah, I mean, when they're both wearing red, you know what I mean? We're going to pull anything, but I totally see what you mean.
Leather, helmet. Yeah. It's even, like, the shades of red and the, like, brown / like, grayish tones.
And the fact it's almost just, like, an overcoat with, you know what I mean, like, undertones.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, even the cape. Like, when she,
Oh, I love when she put the hood on.
I didn't love the hood look.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the hood.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. I liked it better when she was, like, wild mane of hair.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it wasn't bad.
I think Agatha's role moving forward is actually really interesting.
Well, like I told you, I think it's going to be, like, a weird situation where... I mean, I still have a weird theory that somehow this is all connected with some other villain, because, like, why else would Agatha need so much power?
I just think she straight up wanted it, honestly.
She's like, I'll give you the role you want. You'll be the nosy neighbor, which at first I thought that meant she wasn't going to, like, let anyone out of under her control. And then I was like, that's kind of messed up. But then obviously she doesn't.
Just her.
And she's like, that way I'll know where you are all the time. And we have differing theories on what that's going to mean.
Well, keep in mind, so before that, we'll rewind a little bit, but when Wanda finally, like, reveals herself as the Scarlet Witch, Agatha looks at her and she's like, you don't know what you've just unleashed. You know what I mean? And when she brings her to the ground later on, she's like, you did something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you have no idea what you just unleashed.
And you can't control this. And she mentioned, she's like, you're going to need me. And that is what I think is going to end up having her pop up later, is she will actually have to be a mentor.
Yeah, and see, this is where we disagree, because I still have a theory that there was a messenger, because we didn't get any kind of information on Senor Scratchy, which obviously could have just been a name drop, but also obviously could still actually be a messenger between whoever Agatha might be working with. Because why else would she says that she needs her power. Like, you don't need chaos. Yeah, in the episode where she's about to reveal everything to Wanda, she mentioned, she's like, I don't remember exactly how it was, but she says that she needs her power, or she needs her kind of situation, which, like, you wouldn't necessarily need chaos magic just because you want to rule the world. That's a want, Agatha, you know? So I think that there might be something deeper happening with her character. Obviously, Wanda looks at her and she goes, well, if I ever do need you, I'll know exactly where you'll be. And it gave me such strong, like, Loki leaving his dad vibes, where he's like, I know where he'll be. And they go back to the little, like, townhouse, and it's all broken down and in rubble, and Odin's nowhere to be found, and Thor's so mad.
I can definitely see her getting, like, a Loki kind of role.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I feel like she's going to be, like, what, like, I think an anti-hero normally is, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, where you think she's very morally gray, very morally gray.
She was just too good of an actress for her to not make a comeback, honestly.
She has to make a comeback. I think that she's going to, like, keep playing major roles. I think you're right. It would be interesting to see her more as, like, a Loki, where, like, she plays for both sides at different times. I don't know if she'll be a mentor. I think that, if anything, I see Doctor Strange mentoring Wanda a lot more, just because he is the Sorcerer Supreme. Obviously, she's supposed to have more magic than him. That's what Agatha tells her. But I think that at the end of the day, like, he would kind of have one of those situations where he's like, if I don't help you control your magic, then we are going to find a way to end you. You know, because he's so prideful and everything like that. And I think that she'd be kind of okay with it, to be like, I need to learn how to control this. But that actually brings me into my theory for the end. Because I know that there's still, like, stuff after that to talk about, but this is, like, prime transition.
Sure.
In the last end credit scene where she's in the house in the woods, which, speaking of Frozen, those little, like, designs on the door gave me such strong Frozen vibes. So they're probably somewhere in, like, the Netherlands or something cute like that. I don't know. Hansel and Gretel vibes, for sure. Those are so many different cultures that I just mixed together, but I feel like they're all kind of in the same realm, and she's just living her peaceful life. And then you see the astral projection of the Scarlet Witch reading the Darkhold, and I instantly saw this as, like, malicious. Like, I remember I thought that the astral projection wasn't known to Wanda, almost like she was doing it on her own while Wanda was kind of living her own life. But then I was thinking about it, and the book is Agatha said that the book has so many teachings on the Scarlet Witch herself.
The whole chapter devoted to it.
Exactly. So, I mean, if anything, I think that she could just be really trying to learn about herself and her own magic. And maybe she does stumble upon Mephisto or something like that. Because, you hear her kids. And that seemed like the first time she'd heard him. Yeah. She seems shocked. She's like, what the heck was that? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's my theory on, like, why she was even reading the book. But it, like, the whole scene gave me Enchantress vibes.
Yeah, that's what I said in the last episode.
Yeah, from Suicide 100%. Squad. But, like, this one, so much so. Like, even, like, the twitchiness and, like, the way that, like, the bubble was around her. Like, it was so similar to Enchantress. Like, at the end of Suicide Squad. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. One thing about this scene, we're never going to stop with theories, but it's a random mountain just in the middle of nowhere. But looking at it, I want to assume maybe this is Mount Wundagore, which I kind of mentioned in a different video, which is where, in some stories, she was actually born. But this is where the demon Sithon was actually casted away to and caged in. And he's the one that actually wrote the Darkhold. So it makes you wonder. He was
the originator of chaos magic, wasn't he?
He's the god of chaos,
right?
Much.
And so that's originally where she, in the comics, I guess, was supposed to have gotten her powers.
Right. And so he wrote the Darkhold. You have to wonder what made her go there. A lot of people said maybe it's just, a lake somewhere, like a forest in Sokovia, which could also make sense. But we're going to assume that these places are all kind of near each other, just in the Marvel Universe.
In that, like, area of Europe, like, Sokovia is supposed to be near, just, like, Austria and all those like area kind of things, it's fair to assume they're pretty close to each other.
Yeah, but yeah, I just think, it could be possible that this is Mount Wundagore and she was just drawn to it.
Yeah.
And, if Sithon is maybe someone who's going to pop up later, he has something to do with why the kids are reaching out to her for help.
Yeah.
So
originally, when I first saw the cabin, I was just thinking of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I was thinking about how it might be that cabin that they...
Bruce Banner?
Yeah,
the one
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Bruce Banner cabin. And I was like,
Yeah,
that'd be
funny.
cool. But then you saw like all the cute little designs. Oh gosh, I don't know what it's like Norse in general, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is fair because like runes are supposed to be like Viking and Norse. And that was kind of like my bigger theory on that, is just that it's more of like a knowledge-based thing, not so much like a dark thing. Like you could easily assume it's gonna be a dark thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I mean,
a dark
it just
thing.
looked spooky.
Yeah, I think one thing that was funny is when Agatha name dropped, she's like, the Scarlet Witch is even stronger than that of the Sorcerer Supreme.
Oh, yeah.
And you just know Doctor Strange somewhere is just sitting there minding his own business. He's like,
I think I heard my name.
He's like, he just pissed off all of a sudden. He's like,
He's like, I don't know why I'm mad, but I'm mad. Something in the universe is telling me to be mad.
Yeah, so I just want to see them right off the bat just start beefing whenever they meet screen to screen.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I'm kind of hoping, like, I know he's always going to be, like, a prideful kind of ass.
Yeah.
So I'm almost hoping that, like, Wanda goes to him
For help.
ready to be an apprentice.
Yeah,
Like,
I
maybe
agree.
she'll realize that, like, her power is out of her control. Like, maybe, like I said, maybe the astral projection isn't completely conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is when Doctor Strange is doing his astral projections, he's doing it more to when he sleeps. He's not like living a life and having an astral projection. That's not the point of it. It's to let your body rest while your mind still continues.
Yeah. I read somewhere that maybe she's reading it in an astral form, so it's not detected as a real thing that's being used.
Oh,
Does that make sense? So Doctor Strange can't sense that dark magic is being
read, like it, because it's in
conjured
almost
or
like
whatever.
the mirror dimension.
It's
like
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
So
like a
that's-
similar concept. Yeah.
So just to kind of stay under the radar is why she's doing
That,
it.
yeah, that
so.
can, I mean, but the thing is, it's like reading in an astral projection, you don't have two minds. You know what I mean? And your astral projection is supposed to be the projection of your like soul and your mind just out in the astral realm. But it's not, you're not conscious during it. Like if you remember, the other guy passed out in Doctor Strange when they go into, they both are passed out when they go into their astral fight. You're supposed to be asleep. Astral projections happen when you sleep, basically, or meditate, things like that. So for her to just be like making tea, looking out to the lake, having a good
Pretty
time.
relaxing.
It's relaxing, but you're conscious.
I know, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. But like her eyes are open, so I just don't think, I don't know, it doesn't feel like an astral projection.
Yeah. I love how it's open to interpretation.
Yeah. So. I mean, the thing that I don't like about that is like making it seem like the Scarlet Witch is her own entity. Like I don't want that to eventually
I don't think
be
it
something.
is. I don't think it's like a two personality thing.
I wouldn't want that.
Yeah,
like
I
I don't love it, you know what I mean? Like I just don't think it would be as much fun. Yeah. I think Wanda being completely in control of herself would be sick. Let's just like talk about the whole goodbye scene.
It was so sad.
I was sad. Yeah. It was I didn't want it to happen. I told you. I was hoping that like, because I'm glad she made the right decision. Like, I was so relieved that they weren't making her, like, crazy, that they weren't going to make her lose her mind when she has to get rid of her family. Like, she knew that they weren't...
Acceptance.
Yeah. I'm glad she accepted it. I'm glad she was able to say goodbye. And I thought it was interesting word choice, though, when she looks at the kids and she goes, thanks for choosing me to be your mom. Because obviously, moms always say that, you know, they're like, oh, you chose me up in heaven to be your mom. And it's like... You literally created your children. Yeah. Like, that's a very interesting thing to say.
Yeah.
You know? What do you think?
About them being the kids or...
Just, like, in general. Like, that whole scene. Like, it just felt... It felt hinty.
It's always kind of a gray area how our kids actually come into existence. And in some storylines, they end up disappearing again. But, I don't know. I don't really know how else for them to...
I just thought it was interesting. Like,
they had
very... separate personalities. Obviously they had their own powers in their own ways, you know. I mean, okay, besides the fact that I do want to point out, if Wanda's supposed to be this chaos being, like in control of chaos magic, can create at will, can do anything basically to reality, you're gonna really tell me that she had to get rid of her pocket realm and also kill her children and Vision? No, she could easily, even if that was necessary to break the spell, she could have easily brought back Vision and the kids. Agatha clearly even says, you don't need to like say hexes. You don't need to say incantations, anything like that. You just create. Like, she could have just created them. But, like, also, she might just not be in control of her magic. I don't know, but...
Well, and I think that's why you mentioned that it seemed like her first time hearing or acknowledging them when the voice is there. But you could also think maybe she was reading that to figure out how to bring them back.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it either, because, like, she obviously doesn't have huge knowledge on what this chaos magic is. It was just interesting. Also, even to hear how like Agatha described the magic, like she says, you are a witch without a coven. You were being forged. You weren't born. Mm-hmm. So that's all just like very interesting. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously Agatha heard that and she goes, I can forge myself into the Scarlet Witch. Why do you get to be the Scarlet Witch? You know what I mean? But it's all going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. But that whole scene was sad. Like saying goodbye to the kids.
And
they both like switched to give kisses to
I know, and you could even like hear like Vision being on the verge of tears.
Oh, he literally walked towards the door, like I think to like block his face from crying. It was so sad. And like he says goodnight, but Wanda doesn't, which I thought was interesting, you know? Oh, yeah. Just because I felt like it was missing, you know, when she left. I thought she was going to stay with them longer. We both thought that they were just going to be there at the end.
I thought they were going to stay. After like going before I thought they'd disappear, like before the episode. Mm-hmm. During the episode, I thought they would still be in bed and I thought the house was still going to be there. Yeah. And I was pretty surprised when it all disappeared.
Well, I mean,
she was just on the plot of land.
That felt so like, I told you, I was like, it was all a dream. You know,
I was scared it was a dream. I was like, oh, please don't tell me this is all happening in her head.
No.
And she lived all of this, you know, as a dream.
It was just like interesting, like to like have that last scene with him, have him like accept his reality, but also to see like it could stand to reason that we would meet again.
Well, that's because he knows the other visions out there.
No, but like him and her, like he it was him talking, not like him as sub-vision, you know what I mean? Right. Like it was just, I don't know, I think that it was sad. It was really, really sad. I didn't like it.
Yeah, that was probably one of the saddest scenes in all of Marvel. I mean, like up there with Tony dying. But...
Right next to I would say right next to like Peter Parker, like when he's like.
Oh yeah, that's one of them too.
That one broke my heart.
There's just not actually that many like scenes in Marvel that make you feel emotion like that, and I think that's why WandaVision was so unique, because you really felt all the emotions throughout the entire series.
Yeah, I mean, she's just such a unique character, and I'm glad that like they explored her like that, because she deserved to like really get her story. You know what I mean? Like she's supposed to be like this amazing being of power, and like all we'd gotten was like snippets of her. So it was cool. It was really cool.
It was cool because especially she was a side character who was the strongest character. You know what I mean?
Her and Vision.
Yeah. So to actually like give them backstory, and obviously they didn't go too deep into Vision's powers, but into her powers, how she got them, and why she's this strong, I think was really cool.
I'm glad that it wasn't just a dream. I'm glad that we got to like see her actually walk by the town people, which again, they gave her like the look of the purest hate in the world.
I don't blame them.
I don't know.
They're totally in the right.
They're in the right to feel whatever they want to feel, but also
because it's interesting too, because like at the end of that, when the FBI is in there, that's like a state of emergency. Like I know that's not a state, that's a very small town, but like they're in.
Yeah, he's like oh, Jimmy Woo's like ordering everyone around,
yeah, and Monica was like, ooh. They're like, hey, like I'm not okay. We need as many therapists in this place as you could possibly get.
Well, it was funny too, because then Monica was like, ooh, I like you in a position of power, and I was like, I want them together. I didn't know I wanted this. I want them.
We gotta talk about Hayward. Honestly, don't get me wrong. Like,
he's not done.
Well, he's done.
I don't feel like he is.
Well, so that's honestly, I only had a couple actual like things I was disappointed with in this like episode. Mm-hmm. One of them again was kind of Pietro to an extent. If it's what it is, that's fine. But I think Hayward's character was actually starting to get built up in a way. And he had literally 4 minutes of screen time in this.
Well, I think he's going to come way more into play when White Vision makes a comeback.
That's what if White Vision makes a comeback, I feel like it's going to be to save the day at the end of some big bad
I want like a confrontation scene between White Vision and Hayward.
Because it was just weird, because I feel like...
Or Wanda and Hayward. Like, I mean, we deserve some closure on what the heck was going on in his head. Because we obviously know it was fear.
And that's the thing, because you could really pull, like, even though we didn't want to admit it, you can pull he's human, he's scared of these superhumans. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. He wants to have, self-defense. It's essentially what Tony did. But just the way he was built and the anger towards all these people, even Jimmy for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
It was just odd. And then in this last episode where he was supposed to be maybe the second villain next to Agatha, not connected obviously, but another villain, he has all of 4 minutes of screen time, I think, if that. He shows up, he shoots at kids, and then he tries to run them over. And that's all he did in the whole episode.
I mean, but realistically, what is a human with no power going to be able to do against all these mutants?
No, I know, but...
Or all these people with, like, superhuman abilities.
You would think we would have at least gotten more of a motive or, like, a flashback to why he's doing this or something.
Yeah, I just don't think they had the time for it.
Yeah.
You know, like, they were packing so much into this one. Like, we just didn't... I want that. Like, I need the closure, honestly. Yeah. That's why I think he's going to make a comeback. I just don't think they would leave us hanging. I would hope they wouldn't leave us hanging.
At the end of this, he's getting arrested by the FBI. I don't know where else you go from that. Like, he gets broken out. I mean, I guess, but...
I don't know. I feel like there could easily be a breakout scene. There could be a Vision versus him scene. There could be a Wanda talking to him scene. I just need something.
No,
like,
we're not. I don't see
really,
us getting anything
I think
out of
that
him.
we would. I honestly, I really do.
The only way I could see him showing up again is if we get more Hydra and he gets recruited by them.
Maybe. I don't know. It just felt way too unfinished.
That's what I mean.
That's a big loose end.
This is probably the only actual complaint I had with this
No, but that's
episode.
what I'm saying. I don't think it would be a loose end. Like, they left it purposefully so blank.
Him getting arrested?
He didn't even talk. He didn't even have his final, like, I'm going to have my say. He didn't have any moment. They didn't even zoom in on his face. He was far away when he was getting arrested. Yeah. Like, it was just other people talking about him getting arrested. Mm-hmm. And then right after that, we actually get a scene of a Skrull talking to Monica. Mm-hmm. It could easily be a Skrull that's arresting him. It could easily be a Skrull that takes his place. If we're going to talk about the Skrull Secret Wars or whatever that's happening, he could just fall into there. Although, I don't know how I feel about Skrull Secret Wars, just because, like...
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, just because I think, like, I liked the Skrulls, and I don't see how they would suddenly turn evil, but that's... Yeah. I mean, I haven't read the comics, obviously. On top of that, the whole, we have someone that wants to meet you.
Nick Fury.
I don't think so.
I would put any amount of money on it.
You know why I don't think it is?
Why?
Because Monica would have met him already.
Would she?
Yeah.
When?
What do you mean when? She was the daughter of the director of S.W.O.R.D. S.W.O.R.D. had such close alliances with S.H.I.E.L.D. in general, even if before the S.W.O.R.D. thing happened.
But who else would it be? He's on the spaceship.
I told you, I think it's going to be the Skrull dad.
He's on Earth.
The Skrull dad?
In Far From Home, he's on Earth being Nick Fury. Far From Home happens 3 weeks after this, chronologically. So Talos, who is that Skrull dude.
Okay, so he could have gone down.
But they met. He was at the house with them because the daughter was hanging out with him.
Oh.
Remember?
Oh, yeah, they have met.
They have met.
Wait, so is Nick Fury?
Nick Fury wasn't there. I don't think Nick Fury was at the house. This could also be Blue Marvel. I could see Blue Marvel or Nick Fury. I would.
Blue Marvel, yeah, is a guy. Sorry, I thought for a minute it was a girl. I'm they said he.
Yeah, no, Blue Marvel's on the Ultimates team with Monica and Carol Danvers.
Okay, maybe.
And
I don't know.
That's probably what they're going to.
I just think that, like, Nick Fury, and I guess you're right, the Skrull would have hurt. I mean, can you really call it meeting if she was that young? You know what I mean?
Isn't that the same for Nick Fury then?
Well, yeah, no, exactly. So, but what I'm saying is, I feel like Nick Fury and her would have had ample opportunity while she was training. You're going to tell me Monica never trained to get into where she was currently at?
In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? You know how hard Nick Fury is to find?
Yeah, but I feel like director of S.H.I.E.L.D., director of S.W.O.R.D., you're going to tell me that he never met the kid? He might not have. To be fair, it's Nick Fury. It's Nick Fury. We literally never know.
But I loved seeing Monica's eyes light up when they said she was going to space.
Yeah, I loved that they made it the Skrull daughter, the one that was like a kid when she was a kid.
I think it is. I don't actually know if we got confirmation on that, though, because you would have thought they would have been a little bit more...
She looked like her, though, which I know is a weird thing to say, because, like, I don't know, actor kids don't normally look like their grown-up versions, but I feel like they've been doing a really good job of that. Mm-hmm. And she, like, really, like, it was the big eyes, like, the really big, like, pretty eyes. Mm-hmm. Like, she looked just like the one that was supposed to be the kid. And I thought it would have been full circle, just because, like, they were both kids in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when she popped up. I'm excited. I think the new Captain Marvel is going to be sick. I love how there's
tension.
Well, yeah, there's tension between them, but I love how this is also setting up Secret Invasion with the Skrulls, which is definitely going to get messy.
That's a whole, like, I feel like we should maybe do our research and do a whole video on, like, what we think is going to be that.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
I don't think it's coming out for a while, and that's probably for the best.
That's for the best. Because I just don't see at this point where we're at right now how the Skrull would turn against Nick Fury, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, he's literally living up there with them. Like, I don't know. There's a very close relationship. He saved their race.
Yeah.
But we'll see, obviously. So, but that was the end, and I literally, I don't know. I don't think I could be happier. I think that I like having questions. I like having unfinished things.
I just like being able to talk about stuff like this because it's fun. There's just so many dots you can connect, and whether it happens or not, it doesn't really matter because we're always pleased with the ending.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, going down the Marvel movies, there's a couple that obviously I wasn't in love with, but almost all the time I'm satisfied.
They're all worth it,
like,
in my opinion.
Kevin Feige has not let us down yet. You know what I mean? Like, the
Yeah.
entire Marvel team, whether it is something you predicted or not, it's always awesome.
Well, we were even saying the next time one of these shows comes out, or like that we're doing Incredible Theories, we want to do a bingo card.
Yeah, just to see.
Like right at the start, like right
true.
at the very start, we want to do like a bingo card of like some theories and stuff.
It could be something like dumb, like.
Or we could even do it like at the end of every episode, like what we theorize is going to happen in the next one.
Yeah.
And then whoever wins, we'll come up with a prize or something. But we thought it'd be fun. Just because, like, I mean, obviously theories are supposed to just be kind of like dumb fun anyways.
Yeah. That's the thing. Don't get your hopes up. Just, I don't know.
I mean, we've seen a few people get their hopes up. I feel like that's why we're even saying it. But like, obviously, I mean, I feel like you guys appreciate a good story.
Yeah.
So.
It is just kind of fun to be the person who was right. So in the event one of your million theories ends up being right, you could say you said that first.
I had like maybe 2 theories that I can say that for, and I'm happy about both of them. Feel very satisfied. Very smart.
Yeah. Now that the series is over, I don't know if we're going to do this weekly for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but let us know what else you want us to talk about.
Because we still want to upload weekly, so I mean, if there's anything that you do want to see, this would be the prime time to let us know, because again, we have no idea if we're going to be excited about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I'm excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Well, but like as excited as to make a video every week for it.
Yeah, I just don't, because this, you had a lot of Easter eggs and stuff.
Right.
This, I think, is going to be pretty straightforward. So I actually am pretty excited because I think it's going to be cool. It's going to be action-packed.
Yeah, but I'm sure I'll like it more than I think I will.
Yeah, but it's just, again, like with this, we had a lot of little, interesting things to talk about. Yeah. That's going to be a lot more straightforward.
Well, I feel like that one, if anything, we can do kind of like a pre-thought.
Start, middle, and end.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, but yeah, and then we have the Snyder Cut coming up, and then...
Just anything. If you want to talk theories, if you want to have like more of like... Maybe we can bring in some of our friends, have some funny discussions. I don't know. It's up to you guys. Maybe... Literally, the world is your oyster, and we are your pearls. Aw, cute. Sorry.
And we love to talk, and she likes to argue. So if you ever want to hear like pick a hero, give us 2 options and have us talk about it, we can do that too.
Oh my gosh, I did say that I wanted to do like I thought it would be really fun to do.
Who would win in a fight?
Yeah, like DC versus Marvel. We've seen like a few like cool channels that do those. We would probably do like comic specific, like one version of each, because they take everything into account. I feel like it's not as much fun. And we would just battle it out, like similar people. So like Hawkeye versus Green Arrow. And you would be the DC side because I claim Marvel. Just in case you didn't know, I claim Marvel. That's fair.
Okay.
But yeah, so if you ever want to see that would be fun for us too.
Yeah, but let us know.
Although if I ever win... Adam's not a good loser. He's a sore loser.
I'm a great loser. Don't listen to her. I just don't lose.
Iconic.
If I lost, then maybe, but I don't.
Iconic losing words from Adam. Okay, yeah, but it's dumb. So, get ready to see a whole other side of him. I swear, he's not that nice. He's pretty nice. Sore loser.
We'll see.
It's okay.
I'm a sore loser.
Okay.
I don't lose.
No, yeah, of course, babe. You're right.
You gotta lose to be a sore loser.
Sure, yeah, of course. You're just such a winner. I'm sorry I even suggested it. But with all that being said, please stand by.
Please stand by.
No, that's staying. Please stand by is staying.
It's over.
Yes, but please stand by is staying.
I'm sad it's over.
Yeah. There.
Please stand by.
Please stand by. Like the Baymax.
Yeah. Please stand by.
No. There.
Oh.